Welcome to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, brought to you by Pilma. This podcast helps lead lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Here is your legal marketing expert and host, Ken Hardison.
Hi, this is Gracie Howells with Pilma. Let's hit pause for just a second on this episode because I have to tell you about this event that every forward-thinking PI firm should have on their calendar this January. It's the AI for PI Expo in Orlando, Florida, January 15th through 17th. This is the very first conference of its kind dedicated entirely to showing personal injury firms how to harness AI to save time, cut costs, and grow faster. You'll get hands-on demos, practical training, and access to the best AI solutions built for law firms. Reserve your spot now at pilma.org/AI for PI Expo via the link in the show notes.
Hey, it's Jenna, Membership Growth Advisor with Pilma. If you're serious about growing your law firm this year, don't miss your chance to book a free law firm growth strategy session with me. We'll break down what's holding you back, identify the biggest opportunities in your firm, and map out the next steps to accelerate your growth. No pressure, just real strategy and direction tailored to you. Click the link in the show notes to schedule your free session.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Ken Hardison, and welcome to another episode of Grow Your Law Firm. And today we have the pleasure and the honor of having Colleen Joyce with lawyer.com. Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. So tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about your journey and what you do now at lawyer.com. How you got there.
So very organically, I started working at our parent company, learning about the internet industry as a whole, right? I didn't really know much. And I learned SEO from the ground up when it was easy, when SEO was easy, remember that. And then very quickly realized that this is something I love to do. And when we started to build out lawyer.com, I had a lot of fun building a team, scaling, growing, having a lot of growing pains. So a lot of what I've done has kind of just been naturally organic in how my progression has gone through the years.
And what do you do at lawyer.com now?
Sure. So I'm the CEO now at lawyer.com. So I started...
You're the big guy, the big gal.
The big cheese. Yeah.
The big cheese.
But, I was the only person doing customer service. I was the only person doing sales. So I've literally done every job within the company from when we started to right now.
I think that's very good because then nobody can BS you. You know, you've done the job, you know what it takes, you know what the challenges are, and you know what's easy and what's hard.
Well, and sometimes, I personally, at least, I like to understand the different aspects because then that helps manage my expectations, right? So if I can do it, you sure as hell should be able to do it if that's your job.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure everybody knows lawyer.com, but in case there's somebody that's been, Johnny Appleseed or whatever, been sleeping for 40 years, can you tell us what lawyer.com does and what benefits it is to lawyers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we act as a double-sided market. So we help consumers find lawyers. It's a free service. You need a lawyer, where do you go? Lawyer.com. And we're there then matching you with local lawyers in your area. So then on the other side, we help lawyers with marketing, whether that's directory listing, matching clients to their firm. And then about 8 or 9 years ago, we realized shockingly that lawyers weren't great at answering their phones. So we built our own call answer and intake center. We do call answering for about 800 law firms nationwide. And we've learned a great deal in that time. And about 3 years ago, writing was on the wall and we had to dive heavy into AI if we wanted to stay afloat.
Yeah. So is the intake department, is that a separate company or is that?
It's all lawyer.com.
Okay.
Just a product offering.
Okay. Do y'all charge by the minute or by the call or?
We charge by the minute and we don't round or do anything. We've done every pricing structure. When you act as a startup in that mode, you try everything and finally you figure out what the market wants and then you stick with that. So that's why we're priced per minute and it works.
And so you said AI. So how are y'all integrating AI into the intake department?
Yeah, so the benefit that we have is that we have years of data when it comes to calls, right? And legal specific calls. So what we've done is built our own AI agents that are specific for legal intake. And what we do is they sit at the front of the call. And then for if it's a very valuable case, we'll offload it to a human because right now human in the loop is still very important when you're talking about intake. Maybe 6 months from now that all changes, but right now having that blend between AI and human is very important.
So I'm interested. Because I've talked to other people
Yep.
on podcasts and off the podcast, and they worry about if you got and I think it's here, but that if an AI agent answers it, people can tell and they just hang up. But I mean, I've heard some that weren't that great, but I've heard a couple that were really great. I couldn't tell the difference, but
So there's a couple to that. One is it's better than nobody answering the phone,
it's
right?
true.
It's better than a phone tree answering the phone. And AI technology is now so advanced that it is very conversational. We're seeing that it's actually performing better than our human reps in some circumstances.
Really,
I do think that when we talk kind of like the general public, they're not 100% there yet, but that just comes with training, right? The minute that Walmart, American Express, Visa, once they're all AI agent based, it's going to be a lot easier for the other industries to follow.
there's my understanding, and I know you know a lot more about this than I do. So illuminate me. What There's some states I know the federal government's not doing anything on it, but there's certain states, 10 or 12 states, that have either passed or in the process of trying to pass legislation that says if you've got AI agents, you've got to say up front, disclaim it that you're talking to a AI agent or a robot or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see that sweeping and become a lot more prevalent in the conversation. It doesn't hurt. Hey, this is Colleen, your AI agent from lawyer.com. Why not throw that in the beginning of your call? That's what we do to play it safe. And again, we're talking to hundreds of consumers a day, and they're just happy that somebody has answered the phone and willing to help them, right? That's their biggest need. And if you're able to do that, whether you're a human or a conversational agent, doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, they're getting what they need.
Yeah, yeah. Do y'all actually sign up the cases, or you just transfer them over once you qualify them?
So we'll do both. We can go intake AI straight through, but again, when you're a personal injury firm spending a lot of money on marketing, you want to make sure that you've crossing your T's. So right now we do see that blend with, the minute that you say I was in a car accident, the AI agent will say, thank you, Ken. If you hold on one moment, let me get you a live agent on the phone, right? And then boom, you're talking to somebody, but they have all that information, right? They know everything that you've just talked about. Because we know when consumers call in, they just want to be heard. And being heard means that that agent is collecting so much helpful data that then get passed through into intake,
Yeah.
which is
Do
helpful.
you? Yeah. Things have changed, haven't they?
I
For
know.
sure. Yeah, I remember when I first started practicing law, but I mean, I'm old as dirt, but we didn't even have a copier or, a computer. We had a IBM Selectric. We used carbon paper. It was crazy. I mean, but this was like in 82, 81. I mean, 45 years ago.
Yeah, but what I will say is that like lawyers are more adaptive now to new technologies
Yeah.
than they were even like 8 years ago, right?
Yeah, I agree. They got to be if they're going to survive. I
Yeah.
mean, there's too much going on. There's just too much with. Yeah, I want to ask you about that. But before I ask you about that, I want to finish up this part about
Mhm.
lawyer.com. So I've been told, lawyers, I get different takes on someone. Oh, no, I don't want to, they charge too much, da, da, da. The cases, it's like any lead generation. You're going to
Right.
have some good ones and you're going to have some bad ones. That's just the way it
Right.
works. You don't get to, you know, you don't get to go out there and grab them at the accident scene.
Right.
And yeah, but I've heard from some pretty smart people that it still helps your SEO rankings because you guys have such a high what do you call it? Credibility. I mean, I can't remember
Domain authority.
Domain authority,
Yep.
which helps boost your domain authority, which helps you in the rankings on Google Maps and SEO and I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's kind of fun. We're seeing like a resurgence in that. Whereas I feel like everybody went so heavy into lead gen that we kind of forgot about the directories. And we were talking about this earlier before we started. There's only a few directories left out there in legal specific, right? There's the thumbtacks and the expertise of the world, which are great. And they're all backed by Google. So of course they've got great domain authority. But legal specific, that's where you want to put some focus, especially now as we enter kind of like this AI search engine world where they're actually looking for signals from directories. So it's kind of fun to now be back in the directory business because it went a little like dark for a little bit, but now, here we are with a great domain and it's like, okay, good. We haven't gone anywhere. We're ready.
Yeah. So we were talking about this, but things have changed. And what do you see in 2026, what do you think are going to be the big movements or changes that you see? I mean, are they continuing or new? We're in the middle of some, and some of them are going to begin.
I think that we see it. I see you at events. I've been to your event before. I think what we're going to see is a consolidation in maybe the vendor space because there's so much competition and so much PE money. I mean, everybody is getting contacted by PE companies, law firms, vendors, you name it. They're circling, right? So that's going to break. You're going to see something, in my opinion, where there's going to be some major consolidation. I think that a big trend should be, especially for AI search, is brand. So you're going to see a lot more focus on branding because that's a big signal that's going to help you stand apart. So when I think, like, it's funny, we're doing a webinar later about 2026 trends. Like, you need AI, right? You need branding, and you need to make sure that you know what's happening out there in the community so that you can act fast.
Yeah.
Curious, what are your thoughts on kind of what's happening next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it on the nail on the head, and it's not just it's law firms are getting bought up. You would not believe how many calls I get every week from my members and different people. I got somebody interested. I don't know what it's worth. Da da da. How do you do this? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
It's making good money. Why do I want to sell? Da da da. So I'm seeing that, and we're at the baby boomer. I'm one of them, and so you got a lot of guys that are ready to check out. So there's a lot of movements going on. I mean, there's a lot of different groups out there trying to consolidate law firms.
Yeah.
And they're going to roll them over to an equity firm down the road. I mean, they're going to, what do you call it? Roll it up.
Yep.
And what you said is, I've been approached twice by two different equity companies to buy Pilma. Yep. I'm not ready to sell. But the deal is that would have never happened 5 years ago.
No.
I mean, I'm not that big a company. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not that, but they're trying to pull together, and these companies are buying SEO companies.
Yep, we see it.
I mean, different kind of marketing companies trying to put together a whole big deal, and then they're going to roll it up too. So I think you're right. It's not just law firms; it's vendors too, and I'm seeing
it is. Oh, you're going to see it. But where do you think the consumer lands in all of this? Right? Is this going to help create better access to justice? I mean,
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be any better because you look how many millions. Hundreds of millions of dollars, billions are being spent on TV and digital. You're getting flooded with information, and with AI and with all this social media and all the information that the lawyers, because I mean, I teach this. I mean, I think it's better the more you tell, the more you sell without selling, the more you can educate. I'm really in the educational base, and that's what you're seeing loads of now. I see a lot of lawyers. Everybody's got a book now. They got white papers. They're doing videos. They're answering questions, Q&As. They're putting them on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And so, no, I don't think it's going to help the consumer that much. To be honest with you, I think it's going to make the consumer more aware that they have these rights because there'll be more money pouring in. But I don't think they're going to get any better service. In fact, they might get worse service. I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, I did a study of this. I must be interviewing you, though, but they did a study over in, Australia and England's been doing this for 20 years. And it only about 18-20% of the firms actually were non ABS. That's a whole nother deal, right?
Yeah.
But I think you'll have the ABS, but I think you're going to see more John Morgan's foreman, where you got national law firms, and the way to do it is they're buying up these firms.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then pulling them together and getting the equity money in there and letting them run off the show, and then the lawyer just do the lawyering. But that's what I think. I think you'll probably have 8 or 10. It's going to be like, remember the Big 10 accounting firms or Big 8 accounting firms?
Yep, 100%.
I think you're going to have the Big 8 or Big 10 PI firms in the nation. And still don't mean that mom and pop, the small guy can't make it, but it's going to be a lot harder, and you're going to have to be smarter, and because you'll never outspend them and you'll never outbrand them. So you're going to have to differentiate yourself. I always equivocate it to what happened 25, 30 years ago when Walmart went into all these small towns. They went into my small town, 10,000 people, and probably half the mom and pops folded up.
Yeah.
But some of them thrived because they could do stuff and give stuff that Walmart couldn't give. Walmart was just about price.
Right.
And which is a very bad thing to do. When you compete about price, then somebody's going to undercut you.
Right.
Look at Amazon, there was Kmart, it's always somebody's going to beat you, right?
Yeah, it's true. But I do think you're right. There will be kind of those small law firms that will still exist.
Yeah, boutique specialists.
Right.
Like you might be a law firm that just handles, kid cases. Sort of like there's lawyers doing that now. The guy in Atlanta, I can't remember his name. He does this kids cases. There's some lawyers do just burn cases. Some lawyers do just trucking cases. Some lawyers do just dog bite cases. I think you'll see more of that.
Well, that was like so important to be a niche, right? 10 years ago, that was the whole directive, go niche out. And it helped the lawyers that did, right? I mean, you can see it now, but it'll definitely be interesting this year. I feel like it's just or next year, whatever. It's such a pivotal year in legal. There's going to be so much that changes. It'll be really interesting to see who's standing after 12 months. And not not in a threatening way. It's just change is coming, and it's inevitable.
Yeah. And I think it's like when the internet came, some lawyers just said, oh, it's just a fad. But the younger ones that got a hold of it, and I saw young lawyers getting trucking case after trucking case. And the old guys, what the hell's going down? They didn't know what was going down. It was, they got killed there for 4, 5, 7 years. And then they said, oh my God, we got to get with this. Yep. So if you do that with AI, you're going to get the same results. You're going to get killed. And you might survive. But the thing we got extra this time is all this money coming in from institutional money, which I think kind of is like pouring gas on the fire. You know what I'm saying? It just makes it go so much harder and faster. So, I mean,
it attracts the bad seeds, right? Because now you're going to get everyone coming in. It also makes it really difficult because you're going to have now have some pretty big returns. And lawyers aren't, you know this very well. The majority of lawyers aren't used to thinking in that way, right? So now all of a sudden you've got to grow your business by 15%. All right, well, that sounds doable, but without a plan, that's not easy to do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like I was talking to a lawyer yesterday on a consult, and said, I see. I said, are you prepaying stuff? Oh yeah, I'm prepaying this. I said, all of this has nothing to do with getting cases.
Right.
But it's an expense. I said, prepay your marketing expenses.
Yeah.
I said, because that's going to make you money.
Right.
The other's just going to save you some taxes, but this will save you taxes. Plus you'll be creating some
100%.
cases, And he said, I just never thought about it that way. But you got to think different. I mean, you got to, prepay your marketing, but don't which I don't even think it's legal that you can prepay leases. I don't think it counts, but I know a lot of lawyers that do it.
Yeah.
But it's why do that? I mean,
biggest fact, it's the biggest driver.
Yeah. So what is lawyer.com? What do y'all do? I'm sure y'all been approached. But
all the time.
Yeah, I mean, it's what do you say? Martindale Hubbell got acquired.
Yeah, lawyers got bought out, right? There's like a few directories left out there in the legal. I think that because we're profitable and in a good position, we really, we can weather the storm. Whatever storm is coming, we've seen it. We've been doing this for 14 years. We've seen the highs, we've seen the lows. But you have to also understand when's there a good opportunity and what does that look like? We've got a powerhouse brand. And when we started the company, it was just me in a room and I would be able to get in touch with lawyers just because I used the name. I'm like, oh, I'm Colleen from lawyer.com. They thought I was important. They had no idea that I had no idea what I was doing, right? So leveraging that in the industry, especially now that brand is more important than ever, I think is a big strategic play for us.
Yeah, and it's I would hate to even try to guess what lawyer.com URL is worth. Just the URL. Forget the business, just the URL. It's got to be millions, maybe even hundreds. I don't know, but it's got to be crazy. I thought about that. It's
we're fortunate that our parent company, they registered and they had the domain in the late 90s. So we benefited very greatly from that.
Yeah. Because I've seen some URLs go for some crazy money. It's
and phone numbers too.
I had a guy call me the other day. He said, I got this number. And I don't remember what it was, but it was really easy to remember, even though I don't remember it. They wanted $6 million for it. I think it was
maybe you get the remnant traffic of that, and maybe that's like marketing baked into it, but geez.
Yeah. I said, I don't know anybody that would pay that for any number in the world.
No.
And I mean, I'm thinking, I'm seeing a lot of lawyers going to real short URLs, tiny URLs. It's on the billboard instead of numbers because everybody's so digital now.
Yeah.
I'm at the tail end of the people that still remember a phone book.
Right. Well, the Gen Zs don't like to make phone calls. So that's going to also, 10 years from now, that's going to really change how our consumers work. I think I'm not a Gen Z, but I don't like phone calls either. I'd rather just text or email and get it done. And they don't even email. Forget emailing. That's like, I feel like this could also be the year where email is just dead, right? Email is oversaturated. Everyone just lives on their phone and they text and they social media. And I feel like
I'll be honest with you. Like my mastermind members, I say, you got access to me, but here's the thing. Don't call me. I won't answer it because I won't recognize it. And and I'll give you my cell, but text me. Don't send me an email because I skim them and I'll miss half the ones that I should do because I figure if it's important enough, they'll get up. They'll get up with me some other way.
But I actually find myself now, before I make a phone call, this is insane. Before I make a phone call to a client or to anyone really, I text. I'm like, hey, listen, are you free right now for a call? Because what I hate the most is I'm working at my desk, I'm in the zone, and then someone calls and I'm like, I stop, I lose track, I lose focus. So it's interesting how that's all changing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's I'm not even I'm not, I don't even know how to type, but I still like the texting. I can still do the thumbs,
It's all you need.
Yeah. And things change. You got to adapt. Remember, BlackBerry was the deal, and now Blackberries are dead. Blockbuster was the deal. Blockbuster's dead. If you don't adapt, that's what I'm telling lawyers.
Yeah.
Look at the history will prove you out. If you don't adapt with technology and stuff, you will die.
Yeah. No, it's great advice.
I mean, and it's out there. I mean, it's not something that I'm just theorizing. It happens all the time.
Right.
It really does. So y'all do an event. I've spoken at it. I was on a panel last year or this year, I guess it was. Was it this year or last year? I can't remember. And then I spoke at another one. So tell us about the event. When y'all do it this year,
Sure.
and where is it going to be at?
I think last year was when you spoke on the panel, and I think that was one of my most favorite panel, right? It was just all masterminds talking together, right? And I loved hearing from experts like yourself that are in the trenches with the lawyers and the law firms. And I think that was one of the best panels we had. So thank you. So next year, you get ready. We are back in Las Vegas, and we're going to do it in July because we're going to turn up the heat majorly. But someone was like, that's the hottest time. I'm like, okay, well, when was the last time you actually went outside in Las Vegas? You go from the cab to the hotel, and then you go back to the airport. So we are July 15th back at the Fontainebleau, and a big focus, again, I really like to find interesting topics and speakers, right? I think in your panel we had yourself, we had Mike Moore speak, we had Bill Biggs. These are all people that are working in masterminds. And what I loved is that in theory, you guys were all competitors, right? But you share the same stage because you share the same mission of helping law firms.
Yeah.
So we really like to get some kind of not controversial topics, but some very thought-provoking, cutting-edge topics that would help the lawyer actually grow their firm. And we like to have fun. So that's the focus of the event. So we're head in the sand planning right now, but we're very excited for the Lawyer Growth Summit.
Yeah. That's another great URL, by the way.
Yeah, that we got lucky on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had done before that, we were doing right when COVID ended, we started to do like business boot camps, not knowing anything, right? So we'd get lawyers in a room and we'd teach them 2 days about AI. But what we learned was, and we were trying to sell a product at the end. And what we learned was that's not the direction that we want to go in. So the birth of the Lawyer Growth Summit allowed lawyer.com to kind of, take the ownership, take the responsibility of it, but really let the speakers and the content drive the event without any sales, because that's what makes it a little different.
Yeah. No, it's nobody loves to be sold to. They like to buy, but they don't like to be sold to.
Right. And my theory is, listen, and you know this as well, there's so many great products out there. Go try them all, because what works for one may not work for the other. And we're here, we're not going anywhere. And, if you like us, great. If not, great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can't be everything to everybody. That's what I try to tell my wife. She, when I was kind of the pioneer of this, I started this 15, 16 years ago, masterminds. I was the first one,
Yeah. Amazing.
And then now everybody's doing them. Not everybody, but there's a lot more. I mean, they're popping up, a lot of consulting. And my wife, I said, listen, I can't worry about everybody else. I just got to keep focused on what I'm trying to accomplish. I said, and it'll all work out. I said, don't worry about it. I said, we got to know what they're doing, but we don't have to. I'm not going to. My big rule in life is don't worry on the stuff that you have no control of, because it'll drive you nuts.
That's such a great life lesson.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you need to be aware of it, and you need to plan for it, but you can't let it keep you up at night, because you'll go nuts. I mean, just do the best you can and do what you think's right, and let everything fall out. Whatever it falls out, it falls out. I mean, So talking about all these vendors, I mean, every other month there's a new vendor, and some seed money's been, 30 million here, 20 million, 60 million there here. These companies, I mean, like we got. And I mean, I like them all, but like you got Eve, you got Even Up, you got Supia. That's three. Are they all going to survive? I don't know.
So
I mean, I don't know. I don't know who is or who's not. I'm just saying, can this continue on? I mean,
time tells us no, right? History tells us that consolidation happens. It's interesting because you've got Clio, right? Clio just did another round. They're now $5 billion valuation, which is just literally mind-blowing, and like, good on them. I think it's so cool that we can work in an industry where that's possible, right? Like, they're more than a unicorn, right? Like, that's just next level. But like you said, Even Up, another round, they're 2 billion. Eve is 1 billion. This is just the amount of money that's coming in is wild. Now, I don't use the products because I'm not an attorney, so it's really hard for me to say like what's good, what's bad. I'm sure they're all really good. There's a lot of really smart people, but I mean, consolidation has to come. You're going to see it in the intake space, because how many AI intake companies have popped up this year alone? I mean, we see it every conference you walk by. You're like, okay. It's frightening as somebody who runs a call answering and intake service.
Yeah.
But it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing an AI for PI conference in January down in Orlando. And I've got vendors that I've never heard of before have signed up for a booth. And
Yeah.
it's dealing with AI, of course, because it is an AI for PI conference.
Yeah.
Really kind of focusing on that. I'm trying to get people to see that, I think lawyers are a little bit scared of it. And, I was to start with, but believe it or not, I use it every day. I use it to help me as a thought partner,
Yep.
solve problems, or think about marketing. I was reading I think it was Wall Street Journal yesterday or the day before. A lot of these big Fortune 500 companies are using AI on their marketing, and they're increasing their marketing effectiveness by 16, 17%.
Yeah.
So I thought about that. I said, well, they might not need Ken Hardison. Are they going to go to ChatGPT? That'll be okay too.
But the fact that they're using it, right? I mean, I'm the same way. I find such pleasure in working with ChatGPT every day because I'm able to learn and push myself more than I've ever had before. It's like I truly have a partner now. This is crazy, right? I have a partner that I can be completely free with, completely honest with, and it is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's just the start of it. Like as we roll in and you know, we use deep research a lot. I don't know if you ever do use deep research, but it's like, let's create a new product instead of like throwing something out there and see if it's working. We now are able to go deep research something and find out really what's going on. What are the other products? What's the margin on those? And that's like maybe 2 months of work done in an hour. It's amazing. It's truly life-changing. And it's great to see lawyers adapting to it. But that's just, I feel like, scratching the surface.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But that's me. I'm just scratching the surface right now.
But it's fun.
I'm letting all these techies get into the other part of it.
But for marketing, for content, there's just so much that you can do with it, and all of the plugins with Canva. I mean, if you're not using Canva, what are you doing? Because it's just amazing with ChatGPT. It's just the endless opportunities.
Yeah. Our staff here at Pimlin, they use it all the time.
I've actually heard of companies, more like fintech companies, where they're actually tracking who's using what AI tools. And if you're not using them, you're out the door, which is kind of interesting because, right, if you're not using it, you're going to fall behind and your competitors are all using it. So it's an interesting tactic. And I wonder, in the new year, is that something we adopt? I don't know. It'd be interesting to play around with it.
Yeah, I mean, we're having our year-end. I mean, I guess our last quarterly meeting, for next quarter, first quarter, and kind of like an annual deal. And that's one of the things I'm pushing is that each quarter we automate something with AI or some kind of technology to give a better experience and also save money.
Yeah. Oh, the money. I mean, we've lost some people, and AI helps with that, transition period where you don't feel it as much as you would have 3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anything else you want to talk about before we call it a day?
That was fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we could keep chatting, but I know I'm going to see you out on the road this year, and we can keep the conversation going.
All righty. And lawyer.com, and thank you, Colleen, for sharing. And if you really get ready to sell that lawyer.com URL, I'll give you 100,000 for it easy.
Deal.
Then I'll retire.
Yeah, exactly. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Until next time, this is Ken Hardison, dedicated to your success.
You have been listening to the Grow Your Law Firm podcast, the podcast that leads lawyers to more growth, profit, and freedom. Go to growyourlawfirm.com to find more ways to market and manage your law firm. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts.